taking you on a quick trip. I am in the Viking town of Hedeby, or Haithabu, Haithabu, and I am taking a day trip up here, since I have to do this on my weekend, to observe some of the iron findings and get some good examples of work pieces so that I could reproduce them and get a visual and lots of photography. I will be taking you in the museum, and I will be not speaking in the museum. I'm not allowed to film video in there, so I will be making pictures and be talking over the video once I get through the museum. I'll be doing some outside filming of the buildings, and hopefully I'll take you along for most of my journey here today. What I think is absolutely mind-blowing and baffling is that everywhere you look, flint is just laying here on the ground. The entire walkways, and the little alleys here. There's a Vanessa over there. Oops. And you gotta really duck your head because this is not at a height where you can stand. It's about 1.80 meters tall roof, and you can't stand up. I have to duck. Yeah, it's really, really cool. There's flint everywhere, which is pretty cool. I'll be collecting a couple pebbles up here on my way home. So we're gonna go take a look around the other side, see what we see. Now here's a really cool, an actual oven made out of clay. So it's really hard to film here. I have to wear a mask inside. It's hard to breathe, and I have to make sure that I'm not filming any people at any time. So that's part of the challenge. So here you see what a normal Viking living quarters would look like. You have a typical tripod cooking station, and what I think is really interesting is the assembly of this smoke catching device up here. It's just a fur that is greased and hung above the fire. There's no chimney, so the smoke would just collect up here, and that would be trapped up into inside the building, which is really interesting because I'm trying to figure out how to do my Viking cabin fire pit right now, trying to improve it. And I had a similar idea like this, so this is really cool that this idea is actually close to what I had in mind for mine. Now I really like, you can see the beds here, the really nice hanging shelves. That's really cool. I'm gonna make a couple of those. And what I see here, these made out of branches from like old pine trees and similar shapes, like for hooks and hangers. I really like that. I have a whole bunch of those, and it was really exciting to see them used up here as an authentic component as well. So we're gonna walk around and take another look into the next house and see what that is over there. There's a workstation back there with a window. We'll check that out. For processing antlers. It looks like for making instruments, flutes, and handles. It's a little stool and raw materials, some of the tools. Most of the workstations are very similar to this, so each building is set up almost the same way as this one. Now I'm inside the longhouse. I just got in the door over here. I'd like to show some of the details to the door. If you look at this, this is really awesome. They got wooden nails, I'm gonna focus, that go into the door that hold this whole door together. And the structure for the lock I just think is fascinating. Yeah, what you hear now is the birds actually. They have a nest, all of the sparrows up there. It's really cool. You got one right here above me. I gotta watch out and stand underneath. I get pooped on. That's not so good. But I just walked in the main door. There's a lot of people in here, so I let them move on so we can film. So I film for you the storage, the grain storage. This is where you have like your food storage area. You know, you'd be hanging some dried meats. That's just an example. That's I don't think it's a very, oh, maybe it might be historically inspired, but this is just an example of what a cupboard like this would be used to store. Now I don't know exactly what this is, but I'm gonna try to find out. This is a really big, I'm gonna try to get it filmed in here, really big wooden drum. I just came in through the main door, and here's on display are some of the colors that the Vikings here in Hedeby were able to produce with their clothing due to the natural fibers that were available. You have lavender for blue, focus. You have Rheinfahn, which I don't know what the English term is. I'll look it up for you guys. And it's a really cool hanging basket here, which I really like. I think I might make a couple of. And then you have over here to your right, let me get out of the way here, people walking in behind me, a wool blanket, which is really cool. I have one of those. Super warm, but it's really, really itchy. And that would be made on one of these. This is a originally rebuilt weaving board. It's really cool. So we're moving on into the actual longhouse living area. You have another door. Now, I hope the sound is good. I have a mask on. I have to be very quiet. I can't be talking over everybody else. But I do like this here. And again, the smoke. The smoke is caught by this leather, fur. Your fire pit's right below, and there's no duct in the roof. There's just the little areas up there that are interwoven with branches to give some air circulation. And then you have the area where people would sleep and work and hang out and such. Back at the end, you have the second exit, and this is where you would keep your animals. You have the stables inside, and another stables over here to the right. Yeah. And then you would go back and exit the building back out through the back here. So let us go and walk out the door and go into the next building. Now over here, swinging the camera around, I'm still in the Mead Hall. You have a fire pit. It's a hand-forged example. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna just give it a second. We have some people over there. Still in the camera view. I would store things like their boat oars in here. And some of the tables here, they're awesome. I like the different examples of furniture that they have here, especially this bench, because I have one exactly like this that I made freehand. And to see these things here that are displayed in the museum is actually really cool, because it's gives me kind of a good feeling that my Viking camp isn't quite that historically incorrect as I had thought. There's a lot of this furniture here that is very similar to what I've been building. To the only difference, obviously, is that these boards have been hand drawn. They've been hand split out of the logs. You can even see all of the detail in the boards where the axis has been used to straighten out the boards. And what's really neat is, instead of iron nails, using wooden dowels to hold the boards together onto the actual cross planks on the bottom, which is really cool. So this table is completely made out of wood. No metal at all implied in this design. I like the different tones of what they use here. They use different tones of wood. People just walked in front of me, so I have to give it another minute. While we're waiting, I'm going to take a look at this door. This door is really, really awesome. I like the design. Again, wooden dowels here on the door. And in the back, you have a hand lever. Of course, the fire extinguisher. It's, of course, not very historically correct, but it has to be there for them to be able to open this place up. But I really like how this is combined as like the door latch right here. I'm going to swing over here, and this is where the actual mortise is for the bolt of the door to swing in. That is so awesome. I'm going to show you the Mead Hall and walk up to the chair, to the throne. That's where I would sit, right there. That is my seat. My seat with my name on it. Except I'd, instead of that cross there, I'd have a Thor's hammer. But Hedeby, speaking of this topic, Hedeby was a strongly Christianized Viking area because of the commercial business that it had at the time. So there's a time where pagan Vikings were kind of just basically disappearing off of the picture of the Viking scene. So that's why you see a lot of Christian influence here, a lot of Christian jewelry, and that's about the time where the last Vikings kind of went extinct during that time. So here, an Oseberg lamp inspired with three prongs instead of two, which is the usual, which is really interesting, really inspiring to the fact that I don't have to make one of these. That's really cool. Also, the beeswax there, really nice. Inside here, you can actually smell this building before you see it. There's some dried fish hanging there, and some baskets there for catching fish and crabs, and this be like the Fisher House. And you can smell it all the way around the corner. The smell is quite distinct. So I'm gonna move on here. It's gonna one more building before we go back and see this here. I got a little bird trying to come out the window here. It scared it. But this is the woodworker's wood workshop. You have his lathe right there. You have the workbench with a sax knife Little birds, sparrows, some wooden wheels. And I have a very similar, if you guys maybe have seen that I had one of my older videos, I have a Viking style bed exactly in that same design, actually right there. I've got to find a place to set it up. Got all the tools here, a mallet, workbench, and up here on the roof, it's a bow, long bow, raw material. So drying up there, curing the wood. Really, really cool. I really like this little workshop. That'd be a workshop that I enjoy a lot. I haven't been able to find a blacksmith shop yet, so let's go take a look around. So here we are at the shipyard. It's where they are building a ship, piece by piece. This is just a display. It's been out here in the rain for quite a while. The actual boards are starting to rot away already, and the nails are rusting, but this is where they would be building the ships and making the planks over there to be put on this boat.